Thinking of where to go to? Be on board with Dr.Reju.
Good evening. Welcome to Answers with Dr.Reju, where critical life issues are clarified. My name is Joan, and I'm in the studio with Scotty. Welcome to the studio.
Thank you, Joan.
And of course, Dr. Reju, the Chief Resource Person of the Center for Transformational Leadership, CTL-JOS. You're welcome to the studio, sir.
Thank you, Joanne. Good to see you.
Good to
Scotty,
see you.
right?
Thank you.
Good.
If you missed out on our last episode, you can visit our website, answerswithdrreju.org, to listen to all our previous episodes. Last week, we were able to set the foundation for what we'll be looking at today. We looked at the high rates of police violence and rape in Nigeria and the world at large. But today, we're going to be streamlining it down to our country, Nigeria.
Okay.
So, most times when we have a case of rape in the world, they usually advise that the victims of rape go through therapy.
Okay.
Now, do you think that is okay? Let me give an example with, let's say, a 12-year-old girl living in Jenta or a 12-year-old girl living in Tudunwada. Do you think or Rayfield? Yes. Do you think therapy is the best shot to help her or him handle the trauma of rape?
Yeah, therapy works. And, as we talk about this, I want to first of all, appreciate my very good friend. That's Mrs. Esther Ibanga. I think she's organizing a rally today in the city, to create awareness, about this. That's one shade of the therapy, right? Because that person will have gone through a bit of trauma. But the therapy has to be, I'm just using protests now, street protest as a form of therapy.
Okay.
That means this victim knows that someone, is thinking about me. Somebody is, seeing things from my perspective. So the therapy now has to be, many-sided. Because most time when people talk about therapy, you talk about somebody like a psychologist talking to you, trying to walk you through the thing and all that. But it has to be on many fronts. And I believe that the first level of that therapy is that person feeling safe. And when we also talk about therapy, we should also take into consideration our own cultural context. By virtue of the way we are wired, we overcome trauma much more quickly. But because of now globalization, all the windows of many cultures are now open to one another. And that therapy now has to also take that into consideration, because you are happy based on voices. You are traumatized based on voices, both within you and around you. So many times a problem is as big as, if you want to know how heavy this thing is, it's not me carrying it. I won't know how heavy it is. If I carry it and hold it, that's when it begins to dawn on me how heavy this thing is. But you know what? This thing is not changing weight. It's me getting weaker. Right?
Yeah.
Because the level of liquid that's inside is the same. The weight of this jug is the same. But I'm holding it, the weight remains, but I'm getting weaker.
Yeah.
So it depends on what I allow myself to hold on to. The longer I hold on to it, so it's therapy works. But most times, those who give the therapy maybe read a book written by an American, went to an American school. You don't know the history of this person. You don't know the way because the way the mind of this guy is even working. So it's so important that therapy is good, but what mode of therapy will work in this situation might not work in the other situation. So the therapy has to be all encompassing. It must be well informed. It must be contextualized. But therapy is the first stage. really. And that therapy starts from that person knowing that I need to talk about it. You know, we ended on that note last week.
Yeah.
We need to talk about it. And people are looking for those they can trust to talk about it. And that's where the therapy starts from.
Okay, sir. So from what you said, we can see that, you know, most times therapy has to do with the Western form of therapy when people talk about it here. And sometimes it's expensive for these people to afford. But you said something about home-based methods, right?
Yeah.
And I think we're losing that.
Yeah.
So how do you think we can actually build
you know,
these methods back?
that's a very good question, because it has to be, we have to see the need for it,
Okay.
and we have to be very intentional about it. Because sometimes, you see, like I used the analogy of this, we overblow the problem. Rape is horrible, just like any other kind of traumatic experience. You know, we that's why they say prevention is better than cure. So, but we are talking now within the context of when it has happened, right? So it's you know, it's about, who does this person trust? Where does he feel safe? Where does she feel safe? Because most times, you see, those who rape, I think I gave that example last week, especially when minors are raped, is people who they trust that rapes them, that takes advantage of them. So what we had to understand is that, first of all, now the place of safety has become a place of threat. That has to be taken into consideration. You know, that has to be taken into and for this person, the one who committed the offense he or she must see that this person is facing the repercussion. That can really be so helpful. You know, it must be seen that this person is facing the repercussions, so that we know that this therapy has worked. By the time even the victim begins to feel a bit of pity, you know, for the perpetrator. You know, so that's really what we want, because, you know, the way we do legal system in Africa, we have lost it. You know, the way we pursue justice in Africa, we have lost it. That's why I said, I think last week, that people said, you know, courts are not courts of justice, they are courts of law. But you see, in the African culture, justice comes out of reconciliation, restoration. You know, the only time I've had to get involved in a rape case, I think I mentioned that the last time here, was we got to a point where it was no longer this guy, because the first thing the guy tried to do was to work on my emotions, that he wants to talk to me. You know, and I said, no, I won't talk to you. The only place I want to meet you is behind bars. So when we went to court and the guy was put in prison custody, that was when I made myself available to him. Because he had to start from when the guy knows that I've done something wrong. Yeah. You know, so that was when and it was from that point that we reached out to the victim, and she was willing to say, well, honestly, the pain here is that we're friends. We're friends. And the reality is, most times, these rape cases, most of it is not a gang of guys, I don't know. It's not a gang of guys getting one girl they've never seen on the street, right? Sometimes it's based on previous relationship. Yeah, on relationship. So it's, you know, it starts from that point where, when there is a rape issue, let's see two victims. That's where we can contextualize it. Let's see two victims. That's why I sent a picture of the American cop with his knee on the neck of George Floyd. And I sent it to a friend of mine. I said, when you look at this, what do you see? Because what I see is two humans. The two of them are victims. Yeah. The two of them. By the time you see a perpetrator and a victim, that therapy will not work within the context, the African context in which we're talking about. That cop is someone's brother, is someone's son, maybe someone's father. There he has a point of vulnerability. If I talk as an African, right? If that cop, has a dream of George Floyd, with George Floyd even offering him his neck to come and step on, he will run. Because the dead man has become more powerful than you. If he shows up in your dream, the guy will wake up sweating in winter. You see, because that's to tell us that when we're saying therapy, when we're looking at African culture, which is communal based, we need to see two victims. Why will a boy rape a girl? Why will a girl not, be taught to be able to sense a rapist, from afar, from a sentence, from a reaction to some situations? These are the things, these are the issues that will help us, because prevention is better than cure. But like I said, we are talking now from the angle of the thing has been committed. But therapy works, but the therapy has to be contextualized.
Okay, let's go for this short musical interlude, and when we get back, we'll continue.
Thinking of where to go to? Be on board with Patrice Radio.
Welcome back. This is Still Answers with Dr.Reju. So before we went on the break, we were already answering some questions, and I want to ask, sir, you said something about being safe before we went on the break.
Okay.
And since therapy starts with the victim being safe, what is the role of parents in ensuring that a raped child feels safe?
They need to first of all put it in perspective that this is an event and it doesn't define you. It takes a lot of talking to. And it's not to start from, because of the way we do it in society, it brings, the way our cultural narrative works. Many times that's who we are, but that's not how we live life. And that's why we're confused. That's why, a group of Nigerians will campaign for George Floyd and they forget Rinji. Right?
Yeah.
It's just insane. So, you see, the way we look at life is called, for the African, Asian kind of mindset, it's called the powerful, powerless, possession, dispossessed, right?
Yeah.
So that's the way. In the West is guilt, for here is shame. Now, when a Western person thinks is, I have done something wrong. When an African or an Asian thinks, he won't say, I've done something wrong. He will say, I am wrong. Right? So, and it goes further that if Joanne has done something wrong, because Dr. Reju has a relationship with Joanne, Dr. Reju too is wrong. Because Joanne brings, God forbid, shame to everyone that knows Joanne. That's the way we are. So that person first of all needs to know that we are in this together. Right? We have been raped. If it's the rapist, we all. I remember I had to go to a couple at the time for to counsel them, because this guy happens to be somebody who has a relationship with me. This guy hit the wife and called me. And when I got there, the first thing I did, I apologized to the wife on behalf of all men that we beat you up. If we have done what we are supposed to do, your husband shouldn't be beating you. It's failure for male gender. So in the same way, once she doesn't feel alone, right?
Yeah.
The weight is lightened. Once the rapist feel that we are all now perpetrators, he sees the weight of what is done. You've brought our reputation into disrepute, and then the weight is more because it's about fear and reward. That's the way it works. That's how discipline works. So for the perpetrator, he needs to know that, I've dragged everybody down, because bad conduct has social effect, has communal effect. Good conduct, the same. Somebody embezzles state money, everybody suffers.
Yeah. That's right.
There is no conduct that is private. So that person needs to know that we are in this together with you. We understand, right? What has happened to you is bad, but the bad, we must not stay too long there. Why it has happened?
Yeah.
It has happened. Why will a doctor be writing diagnosis? He's writing a diagnosis in a phrase, in a language that's already pointing at the cure.
Yeah.
The diagnosis must reveal the cure. So it's way forward, and we mustn't rush any. Why we want to say that something terrible has happened here? We want to do it because all the therapy has to be, part of the therapy should be go to the hospital, check yourself whether I've counseled someone before who was raped by armed robbers. Doesn't even know them. She was on the night bus, and they were attacked and she was raped. Right? She doesn't even know them. So the first thing that we did was go to the hospital and check yourself out. Because at this time, it was when HIV was running, was going berserk. And the first thing she wanted to find out is her HIV status.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So once that is, and that was the beginning. With the way we do it here, thank God this is not the case, and then we begin to work from there. It's and I don't, okay, maybe I shouldn't go there, but let me say it. I don't like the situation where you say it is one that has been raped before and should now begin to counsel those who have been raped. No, we have to first of all ensure that this person been healed, because you can transfer pain, you can transfer guilt, you can transfer rejection. I don't like a situation where you have an association of victims. It doesn't work.
Yeah.
They just be licking their wounds there. So it's so important that we sort of from the home once, because that's where we find safety. The home, that girl, that boy must first of all see that welcoming hands. That boy must see, if it's the boy that raped the girl, that boy must see those frowning faces, not isolating him, but saying, we are in this, you've brought us into this pit together. That's where the safety comes.
I think this is actually very key for me, hearing this, that we're in this together. This will
we're
really
in this
help
together.
reduce the level of stigmatization that victims actually face. So much more on this, the issue of contextualizing the solution. Especially for the victims of rape. We have talked about therapy, and it seems as if it's a very huge thing in the African Nigerian context. We always feel we can't afford psychological therapy, which is actually needful. So what other methods can we say that should be done to help alleviate these pains, most more to the victims?
There's something you said in your question that's giving me a bit of perspective. Because sometimes when we say therapy, we don't even know what we mean. What's therapy in Birom language? What's therapy in Yoruba language? What's therapy in Hausa? What's therapy in Igbo? So that we know exactly what we want to do. Because when you hear therapy, you look at the bill. Because there's one expert who has all the answers coming from somewhere. What exactly is therapy? You speak Hausa, right?
Yes, I do.
What would therapy be in Hausa?
Maybe
you see, you say
yeah, I was thinking about it.
You say that means we are flying blind. We don't even know when we've succeeded. So let's first of all know exactly what we want to do when we talk about therapy. Because you see, there's a video a sister of mine sent to me yesterday of an American who was in Nigeria for about 17 years. I don't know, she's British, white. He was in Nigeria for about 17 years, learned African traditional religion, language, and everything, you know, and she taught in University of Ife for many years. The way this white woman speaks Yoruba, I speak Yoruba, I can't speak it that way.
Amazing.
Yeah, because the words she used are words that you hear maybe when you listen to a Yoruba newscast.
Conch words.
Yeah. You know, so, and she said something. The reason I brought that is that Africans they must not, you know, we've said that on this program. Don't lose your language. Once you've lost your language, you've lost your life. You know, because we need to work on this copy and paste. We need to get away from this culture consuming practice. We need to go back to our own culture, rework it, repackage it, make it global. We are people. We had a life. That's why I'm saying, you know, when we talk about therapy now, we don't even have a picture. We don't even have a picture. Therapy is, you know, maybe you've seen those movies. Somebody is an alcoholic. He goes to a group of other alcoholics and say, okay, who wants to talk first? Okay, I'll go first. My name is Reju. I'm an alcoholic. And everybody will say, hello, Reju. You know, that might work in that context. Because they just talk. Talk is part of it. You know, because the first sign that there's a problem is withdrawal. When the person doesn't want to talk, you know, but where do we really talk? You see, stigmatization. You know, wars are always best fought and won when there's no war. Yeah. If this girl, this boy has acceptance, unconditional acceptance at home, it might never happen. But we're talking again. You know, we need to keep chipping that in. So once that particular place is a safe zone. I saw a movie this week. I mean, this series, When They See Us. You know, which is the true story of those boys that. Do you know what they used to manipulate those boys? To lie. They promised that they will go back home. Those boys will do anything to go back home, because home is the place of safety. They will do anything. They use that to manipulate the parents. You have your kid back home if they cooperate with us. So do we still have home?
Very key question.
Do we still have home? Is home still home, or is it hood? You know, you call it hood, right? Because a hood, honestly, in hood, most hoods, you don't live there with your parents. The mind is not HOOD. Hood is not a place that is for parents and children. Right? Hood really is a place of hiding. It's a place of hiding. You see, we need to marry, like that guy wrote. I forgot the name of the guy who wrote the article about honor and energy. Honor is, you know, my generation. Energy is the millennial and the post-millennial. The two must come together. I saw the documentary of Quincy Jones. Maybe many of you guys might not have heard his name before. You've heard the name before? Quincy Jones is the best producer of music of all times. Wow. He's the one who made Michael Jackson. He's the one who made Brothers Johnson. He's the one, and this is a guy who is timeless. He had a session with these African American hip hop guys and told them, what you are doing is good. It reminds me of bebop, and I know about bebop. You know, we danced to bebop. We rocked bebop in my days. And he said, but you're adding something to it that doesn't have anything to do with music. That's guns. Those guns, the lead that comes out of it is not just hot, it can kill. 2 weeks after, Tupac was killed. After he had that meeting with them. 2 weeks after, Tupac was shot dead. Notorious B.I.G. What do you call? Yeah. They died, you know. So there is a disconnect. We need to bring home back. right? Hood must be home, not a place where you hide. This is there. Every other thing must come from there. Because when I hear rape, I'm not seeing perpetrator victim. I'm seeing two victims.
Okay, sir. Last week you said the family or parents are the first and most important institution to teach their children about sex education.
Absolutely.
But there's a probability that this child might not have a parent. Either maybe, let's say he's an orphan, or the parents are there but they are not really responsible. So how else can these children know what they need to know?
Parenting, let's look at it. It's not a biological word. Right? It's not a biological word. It's an agricultural word. Right? Culture is not a social word. It's an agricultural word. That's where you get something you groom. Right? Bridegroom has something to do with marriage. Is a groomer of a bride. That kind of, so if there was somebody I was talking with yesterday. We're talking about this racism in America, and I was giving them clues on how you need to walk through these sort of things and all that, and he said, I was really talking because I was talking about home, and I was talking with my brother yesterday, and he was saying that if we had our father with us, maybe things would have been different. I said, but what you are telling me now is maybe I should have told him, if we had our father with us, it would have been truly different, because we would have turned out worse. We would have picked his, lifestyle of womanizing, lack of responsibility. So it's not just about having a male or female in the house. And he said that, I now see that though I didn't have a father, but I had father figures. And he mentioned what the mom used to do, that some Jehovah Witness guys who used to come to their house, who used to come and teach them lesson, teach them music, come and visit them in school. There is no time they are doing anything in school. These men are around. Those were the guys that shaped him. So it's not just a biological father. It's a father figure for the boy. It's not just a biological mother. It's a female role model for the girl. And also they can switch roles, right? Because each child needs both. So it doesn't have to be the woman who went into labor. It doesn't have to be the man who passed the semen. That's not, it is not sperm that makes one a father. That's the point. So who will teach sex education? It's just where it is safe. It's where it is safe. So, but I said on a general, it must be in a home setting, not house. House is bricks. Home is a space of safety and trust, mutual. So it might be, that's why, you see, when I teach people in my own organization, I place a high premium on accountability and mentoring. The easiest way for me to delete a young person from my life is when that person doesn't know. I don't like giving instructions to people. I like people taking instructions from me, because there are two different things. I will only give my instruction to those who want to take it. Right? So what I always work on is I want to position myself in a place where I can earn this person's trust. So I will only put trust on offer. That person will. So it's mutual. I can't force somebody to trust me. So these are the kind of things. Who is that person that provides that kind of safety? That's the home. That's the parent. Honestly, it might be a college dean. It might be a school principal. But it has to be safe. It must be safe. Because we have a lot of, look at churches, look at mosques, look at all these kind of things, and we're looking for parents. Then those institutions have failed. Yeah. With all the father in the Lord kind of narratives, that is just some area boy-father relationship. Because it is those kind of places. But if the awareness is not there, it might be a grave digging venture where we're supposed to learn sex education becomes a place of sex abuse.
Okay. Thank you so much, sir. We'll be going for another break, and when we get back, we'll continue. Stay tuned.
Thinking of where to go to? Be on board with Patrice Radio.
Okay, welcome back from that musical break. So before we went on that break, Scotty had a question, so he's going to be asking.
Yeah, thank you so much, sir. You've addressed the responsibility or the role of parents, and then creating a home. Not a hood. Not a hood. To be able to make it safe for rape victims to be able to express their heart.
Yeah.
So maybe, should I say on a lighter note or much more, how can a girl be taught to sense this, maybe a rapist from maybe forced meeting?
It's not, it's not boxes to check. Because everybody we're learning through this, so you see where we can really become a well functional society is how we use our challenges to become better. So now there's an upsurge of rape. If we don't have another rape incident for the next 6 months, the protest will go. It will die out. So protests are good. Like I always say, protests are just diagnostic reports. It doesn't provide a cure. So we need to now begin to look at how do we. So and then again, I said when I hear rape, I see 2 victims. How do we? Because you said how can a girl know a guy who is a potential rapist? How should a boy too? Right, make sure I don't fall into the gang of potential rapists. What do we need to tell a boy that he will never get to rape? What are the reasons why people rape in the first place? Because the reasons are many. Especially here, I gave an example here that there was a time there was a massive spike in HIV/AIDS in South Africa because some herbalists told AIDS patients that if you sleep with a virgin, you will be cured. So there are a lot of narratives, there are a lot of voices going on that we need to silence. And those kind of voices can be silenced by protests. Protests are good. Protests only happen after the event. But can we have a process, not a protest, where people are kind of, where there is when we say we are raising a child, you see, what a child doesn't learn between the age of 4 and 14 is almost impossible for him or her to learn it. Right? Because the rapist, let's look at the rapist now. It starts with aggression. My wife is an elementary school teacher, and says that there's a boy used to be in her class years ago who bullies girls. And when he does that, he will say that's the way my father deals with my mother. That's where he learned it from. So it can be from little bouts of aggression here and there. It's we are products of stories that we've heard. We are products of the things that we see. So if you always, for example, it's bouts of aggression, especially aggression towards somebody you perceive to be weaker, it can lead to rape. And then rape, we're talking, the central thing here now is sexual intercourse, right? Because that's where we have narrowed it, right? We've narrowed it, but it's not only that. Our economy is being raped by politicians. Because we have a way of narrowing words. When you say corruption, you only look at it from somebody stealing money. Corruption is whatever falls short of standard. You can have a corrupt phone. You can have a corrupted software. When you corrupt something, it no longer functions as intended. So when we vote this money for road and we use it, to buy chains of cars, that's corruption. So when we talk about rape now, but we're talking now within the context of sex, have we taught that sex is for pleasure. Because if I can't imagine pleasure in an atmosphere of rape. No. Because there is no agreement. Yeah. There's no consent. So sex education is one of it. But a girl must be able to sense from little bouts of aggression from a boy, it can lead to that. Okay. And it's either you, like, this single mother will always tell the, it's not even a single mother, I think it's a movie, I saw it. Yeah. They always tell the boy, never start a fight, but make sure you finish it. Yeah.
If somebody started with you.
Never start a fight. Wow. But if a fight comes, make sure you finish it. You see, we need to teach, because it's as if we live in a world now where weakness is enthroned, is venerated. Yeah. We delight in being weak now. Right?
Like the vulnerable one.
We want to care for the vulnerable. And the way we care for the vulnerable is, I always tell people, when you throw a pity party, only demons come. And when demons come, they come and just amplify what's in your heart. See what they've done to me. See this, to me. They've done that to you. Oh, and then they pass you a box of tissue to begin to clean your tears. We need to teach toughness. We need to teach self-defense. Never be the aggressor. But when the aggressor comes, the aggressor must live with a mark. Boy or girl. That's the point. We need to teach toughness, because when we were growing up, when they beat you outside, you can't go home with tears. You have to finish the fight. It's either you negotiate or you fight. You either negotiate. By the time you are going home, there must not be tears. They mustn't hear the story at home that they beat you up. Right? Yeah. You can come and tell the story. If Mr. and Mrs. something come, I just broke the nose of their son, and what happened? And then we tell the story. So by the time they come, the two parents have something to talk about. I'm not because when people hear this now, within a culture of weakness, this man is promoting violence. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about teach your kids toughness. Teach them, I was telling my adopted son who lived in the US that when a policeman stops you, delete from your head, I am being profiled. Delete that from your head. If it's there, you will react to the police. Because in the mind of the white policeman too, is thinking this guy will think I'm profiling him. The two of you are already enemies. You're already enemies. I said, but when you leave home, check your tail light. Did you fix it? Is your car roadworthy? Your car is not roadworthy. The policeman pull you aside and you're saying you are being profiled. No, you profiled yourself. You profiled yourself. And he was telling the story that one stopped him and said, okay, hi officer, with a smile. So I'm playing this good music in my car. Would you like to dance? And the man laughed. Now, you see, the guy just doused tension. Yeah. So have you listened to this music before? So one of those is play some really raw African music. This is how we rock it in Africa. And you see, live life. Live life. You see, these are the things that comes by training. Right? It comes by training. And you see, that's why I said it's not 7 steps. We have to learn from this. It's a problem in India, but they are still walking, just still paddling the canoe on one side. Protests are good. That's why I started with appreciating my good friend, Esai Banga. That, but they now say, don't ask why our girls dress like this. That's the placard I saw in India. Don't ask why our girls, dress like this. Train your boys. That's paddling the canoe on one side. Is both. Train the boys, also train the girls. And I've always tell girls something. And I need to say it. There's a program, I think, that we normally have on Patrice Radio, right? What to wear to wear.
Yeah.
Girls need to understand something. The male gender love naked girls. They are drawn to naked girls, number one. Number two, most of girls, the female fashion, are designed by men. So they put on you what they want to see. They put on you what they want to see. That's something that we have to factor into the conversation. Males by nature love naked girls. Yeah, by nature. Now, we can't say that and not factor self-restraint into it.
Yeah.
Right? But the girls too need to know. You can't make yourself a sex symbol. Right?
Yeah.
Why should you want to, like I always say, you want to sell biscuit, there must be the picture of a naked girl.
Sell tire.
The female groups should fight that.
Yeah.
Where is decency? You know, today is so hard now to define what's decent. What is the purpose of this fabric? Is that it might cover our nakedness. And today it's not only girls that are naked, boys are naked.
Mm-hmm.
And for boys, it's even so obscene when you wear a trouser and your boxer is showing. You know what my mom will tell me, if you dress like that and they are rounding up people who are just, they call in those days roga. If they are rounding up people on roga, they will catch you too.
Different.
Because there's no difference.
Yeah.
I remember, don't let me say that. Okay, it's funny. There was a time they tell me, these mechanic guys, don't come to town with your work clothes, right? They parked this mechanic because he was wearing this dirty clothes among with mad people. And when you are trying to prove you are not mad, that's when you are really mad. That's when you're really mad. So you wear all these ripped jeans that's looking like a rag, and they are packing, mad people. They'll pack you. If you have to prove you are not mad, they put you in solitary confinement because you are the one that's really mad. You see, we've had this cultural shift because we become culture consumers.
Yeah.
We need to get the African groove back. That's what will save us. I said last week, in the village where my parents come from, all the villagers bathe in the same river. The women are topless. No rape. So it's not about a woman being naked. It's also about culture. It's about training. It's about discipline. It's about knowing the reason why God didn't just give us eyes. He also gave us lids. So that you can close it.
Sure. Okay. So there's something I've noticed about the society, and that is sometimes they tend to stigmatize victims. And I know of this situation or this story of this young man that raped a couple of young girls in the same area, and the guy is still there. Nobody looks at him weirdly, but somehow they look at these children that were raped by the same man like, see, after everything that happened to you, why do you think the society is like that?
That's a good question. And again, it's narrative. We shoot wounded soldiers, right? We shoot wounded soldiers. The most heinous crime to commit in war, right, is to kill a POW, a prisoner of war. Yeah. So, in fact, there's a whole UN article. But having said that, it starts again. We're going to go back home. You see, you can't control how people treat you, right? But you can control how you respond. Stigmatization. You see, I told someone, it's impossible for me to be racially abused, because racial abuse is my interpretation of somebody's action towards me. I cannot be racially abused. I can't be stigmatized. Right?
Yeah.
Because the only way I can be stigmatized is when I stigmatize myself. You see, we are looking for people's approval. That's why we are stigmatized. And that's you see, when you are trying to manage something that is not if you are trying to drive a car that you are not seated inside, that's an impossibility. Right? You can't drive a car by sitting in the back seat. Right? You drive the car when you are on the wheels. So stigmatization, we are not addressing that thing properly. You are stigmatized because you are not comfortable in your skin. What is more, the way you see yourself is not as important as how people see you. People's opinion of you outranks your own opinion of yourself. We have to take it from there. Now, we also need communal affirmation. Right? We need societal affirmation, but honestly, it's not that critical. Now, we have to define that society. Right? And that's the reason people don't talk. That's why they keep it secret, because of what will people say. Exactly. That's why stigmatization has a lot of teeth. Because we value people's opinion. We want to get a degree, not because we want it, so that people will know that I have a degree. Yeah. We want to marry not because we have a personal reason. We are doing it for people. Mm-hmm. And you see, there's a song that I grew up with, is by Ebenezer Obey. Those who grew up in the Southwest, is a Kete Kete song. The donkey song. Or horse. It's Kete Kete. I don't know whether it's horse or donkey. It's an animal that people ride. That it told the story of how this father and son wanted to please everybody. And the man failed at every step. If you live in a big house, people say your house is too big. If you live in a small house, why are you living in this small house? Why are you wearing a black t-shirt today? Yeah. You wear red. Huh? Red? On a first day? And then you are jumping, and that's how this young generation now lives. Yeah. With their parents too. I've seen parents who their daughters especially, you see, when they say girls have been molested outside, it starts from home. Yeah. A friend of mine sent a picture yesterday, a girl maybe of 5, 6 being prepared for her birthday, and the mom put the picture on Facebook in the bikini. Put a picture there, 5-year-old turning 6 with all makeup. Maybe they call the makeup artist to come to the house to come and make and put her picture. Now people won't see that as child abuse, right? Mm. It's when an uncle rapes that girl. That becomes an issue. Yeah. You see, she did that to see. I mean, they will carry girls the best baby of the year. That's where the wahala starts from. Why are we having the best baby of the year? The finest baby. That's criminal. It's criminal. And that thing is wide. The course she reads in school is for the parents. And all those. So it's really, really something that we have to take so seriously. Stigmatization is our definition. Somebody somewhere, the most important person in that person's life, once they accept, that's all. Yeah. That's all. That is all.
All right. Well, sir, maybe so on the conclusive note,
yeah.
What's going to be the responsibility of friends, or the roles of friends of people who are victims? Now, both victims now, maybe the perpetrator but both victims.
You see, friends, you call something friendship because there are values that guides it. Yeah. Because they say, show me your friends and I'll show you who you are. Yeah. Right? I'll tell you who you are. So, I mean, if you scouted does something wrong and your friend report you to me, you are free. You're free. Right? That means, number one, what you've done wrong is not a secret amongst your friends. And your friend also knows someone that can bring your head back to your neck, yeah, you're free if that happens. That's the role of friends. When a girl has that kind of an experience and she has a group, because they say that all, maybe today, maybe girls are better friends, just on top of my head, because they said that, I'm saying that a girl knows another rape victim, right? But boys don't know another rapist, right? Girls would say my friend was raped. Boys will hardly say my friend raped a girl. Yeah. So it's about tutelage, it's about orientation, it's about, because a lot of people, even there are people, they call themselves friends, maybe it's Facebook friend. You don't even know the guy. Hey, my guy, where were you yesterday? I had something happen in Gentile. Where were you? That's it. Do you know a friend of yours with that kind of tendency? And you are always on the lookout for him or her?
All right, we've come to the end of the program for today. You can visit our website at answerswithdrreju.org to stream on all our previous episodes. We will see you next week for another exciting episode. But always remember to wash your hands or use your alcohol-based hand sanitizers. Wear your face masks when you're in public places, and please, coronavirus is not a death sentence. Stay safe for yourself and for others. Thank you.
Thinking of where to go to? Be on board with Patrice Radio.
Hey, 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 hey!